I'd like to call the meeting to order this evening, February 6, 2018, at 6:35. Opening statement and roll call, please.
Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner. By the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 5, 2018. By the faxing of a copy of said notice to the Tri-Town News, Asbury Park Press, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 5, 2018. By the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's Office on January 5, 2018. The public will be allowed to attend and will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to your right. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Nicastro.
Here.
Mayor Berger.
Present. Are there any subject matters to go into executive session?
Yes, Mayor. Litigation under the Colel congregation case.
Okay. Can we, Penny?
Yes, I'll read the executive session resolution. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas that the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas at this time, the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when the discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the item previously listed, and upon reconvening the public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time when and the circumstance under which a discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nicastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. The executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Good evening, everyone. I would like to begin this session. It is 7:35, February 6th, so we can begin our meeting. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nicastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Are there any reports from the township officials? Nothing?
I
Anybody
have
at the board?
additions before we move on.
Please.
Additions that have been placed on the agenda from the preliminary to the final agenda include Resolution 9A23, opposed exportation of groundwater resource application in the matter of Brick Township and Ocean County to divert water from the Kirkwood Aquifer through 10 existing and 6 proposed wells. Motion 9B4, 2018 renewal, coin-operated games license, the Ivy League. 9B5, 2018 renewal, coin-operated games license, the Chapter House. 9B6, 2018 renewal, coin-operated games license, Howell Bowling Lanes. 9B7, 2018 renewal, coin-operated games license, Walmart. 9B8, 2018 renewal, taxi owner-driver license, Apple Taxi and Limo. 9B9, 2018 renewal, coin-operated games license, Side Pocket Billiards. And those are your changes to the agenda, Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a presentation this evening?
Yes, we do. Associated Humane Society, Brian Becker is here to talk about the Trap Neuter Release Program for the feral cat population matter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm going to attempt to not bore you all to death tonight. I can't promise you, though.
Brian, if you want to sit instead of standing, it's up to you.
Perfect, that's great. So the program that the Humane Society is offering to the township. All right. Better. So the program that the Humane Society is offering to the township, I usually like to start off with the best news of anything. It's free to the township. Usually a little bit easier when I say that. So the program itself is to control the current feral cat population. Right now, there's 2 avenues that you can go off of. It's either trap and euthanize, or trap and remove, which generally is a term of trap and euthanize, which generally runs the township a lot more money if you go that route, as well as it doesn't generally stop the issue. Within the realm of animal welfare and dealing with feral cats, you have what's called the vacuum effect. Feral cats are in one location because there's the access to generalized food and shelter. If you remove one colony of 12, you may have a colony of 10, another colony of 12, or a colony of 20 that will move into that location because the resources are already there. That's where TNR is the second option. Cats from that colony are trapped. They are brought to our facility where they are vetted appropriately. They all get obviously fixed, spay and neuter, rabies, distemper vaccines, microchip. They get that FIV, FVLV test, which is your test for feline AIDS, feline leukemia, and then anything appropriate additionally that may be needed from our veterinarian's aspect, and then they are returned back to a managed registered colony to the township for further care. Within that time frame, you see 2 ideas of population reduction. You see that immediate response because we are keeping your kittens, we're keeping your friendly cats, and your semi-ferals is where we deem them. Your semi-ferals are worked with to where they will hopefully become friendly, to where we can then adopt them out. Your ferals are the ones that are just unsocialized and just past the frame of us being able to work with them further, to where they can, again, be released back out to that appropriate colony for the remainder of their life. The average feral cat lifespan is anywhere to about 5 to 7 years, and I would say that in a very average end of it. You can have some that live shorter than 5 to 7 years. You could have some that live longer than 5 to 7 years. Again, that's the national standard from what we've seen statistically. Again, the program itself, I believe I did email a lot of this information to you guys. Hopefully you guys were given it. Again, the program...
Yes. Email. Well, through email, Brian.
At some point you'll get it.
Mic, please, Ms. Walden.
So again, the program itself, it does outline the general medical responsibilities that are done to the Humane Society for each cat that's given. Again, there is a requirement that obviously the agreement of the proposal and the MOU that we would have between the township and the Humane Society, as well as ordinances that would follow that would be in support of that program, as well as places the requirements of that program within the county manager, and again, it similarly adds the requirements to that and the enforcement end of it. I have supplied you guys with a copy of the Borough of Highlands ordinance that they put in place for their program, as well as soon as the Township of Aberdeen finalizes their ordinances, I could supply you with those as well to see what they are moving forward with as well. Again, it's the county managers themselves are required to keep a generalized list of all the cats within their colony, descriptions, names. I guarantee every one of your county managers have names for every one of their cats. They may have a couple duplicates, but they all got names. How long they've been in that colony, when they were fixed, when they were vaccinated, and then a subsequent list updated every month to where code enforcement from the town, any township official, or us at the Humane Society, since we are also your animal control, can go and request them to produce those documents to check. Every county manager does sign this agreement, pretty much explaining that they are responsible for the day-to-day care of those cats, again, providing them with basic food, water, and shelter. They are allowing both either myself or any other Humane Society personnel onto their property, in any access to their property, short of obviously inside of their households, to conduct this TNR where we're trapping them and removing them. And then again, they understand that if they are given the permission to trap on their own on our behalf, to where we may be at a different part of the town, if it's a county manager that I do trust enough, we'll allow them to trap themselves. Again, it's them understanding that if they do trap, they're not going to be trapping any cat that they already know to be owned or any wild animal to be tested in a general laboratory setting. Again, it just understands, again, they're also trying to understand that there's some cats that the best recourse would be, unfortunately, euthanasia, whether it's a severe medical issue, which is generally the main aspect to it. Again, there's a generalized county law they are required to keep. Now, again, to get a little bit more into the program itself, you have the aspect of this signing agreement, as well as the ordinance that are in place. From there, we do generally recommend a public meeting with your township residents where we can in-depth explain that program to them. It's also the best way to get the actual residents on board. Again, you are always going to have certain residents that are opposed to cats. I dealt with 3 so far this week, and it's only Tuesday. It's a matter of generally explaining them. A lot of the residents are under the idea that, within most towns, there's nothing being done. It's a lot of residents, they'll be a lot happier as when they know that something's being done. Again, and at the general mindset of it is, I don't really want them on my property, but I don't want them euthanized. That's where the option of TNR is your best recommendation. If you go actually onto the New Jersey State Department of Health's website, you all know, just like I do, New Jersey is not always the quickest to respond to new approaches. New Jersey is not either for or against TNR. They leave it up to the municipality. Again, it's within their information on their site. They're determined that if the municipality does want to go with TNR, it is appropriate to be within the standard that we're offering you guys, which is this fully registered and organized fashion to move forward. As well as I also have a letter that I could provide to you guys from the Humane Society of the United States in their support of generalized TNR programs. Again, the program itself, through studies that are being done, is the most effective way to regulate your cat population. Going into it again, you have that both immediate and long-term extended population reduction. You have that, again, you have that immediate reduction because you are taking your friendlies, your kittens and your semi-ferals, and you have that long-term reduction. Again, the ferals that are released back out within that time frame of life, they will generally within that natural selection clause, they'll reduce down until that colony is deceased. Again, each cat within the program itself is microchipped. That way, if we end up finding a cat that's deceased, whether it's hit by a car or whatever it is, we're able to document what cat that is through that microchip so that we know exactly. Maybe colony 6 had 12 cats. 2 have now been found to be deceased. Now they have 10. So it's a accurate and most up-to-date fashion to know where your population level is at any one point. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much. That's the easy way of explaining the program itself. Again, the program itself is at no cost to the township. It's the best thing that we can do for you but again, at the end of the day, it helps the township. It will hopefully end the complaints that you guys get. I know Maria in the office has already sent me some stuff that we've gone out to look at. Again, it's the best option that we can recommend that will both it'll give the township an option of having a program in place, as well as it will make the residents happy that there's a program in place to actually hopefully counter and control that population end of it.
I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of answers. I hope.
Well, that's why I brought it up. How do you, well, I guess starting from the beginning, how would you proceed? How do you go on private property and look for cats, or?
So at this point, once the program is approved and the ordinances are placed, I've been doing this long enough to where I could pretty much drive by a house and generally seeing if there's cats there. Again, if there's cats hanging out to one specific property, it means that either that house is feeding or somebody in that close proximity is also feeding. To where it's within the normal course of our duties, we can go up to the house and knock on the door and explain why we're there, explain what we're hoping to accomplish with this program. Generally, with the realm of TNR and caring for feral cats, it is a very lucrative end of it, because unfortunately people think that they're going to get summons and fined and in a lot of trouble. The program itself is a way to let your residents know that the program's in place, we're here to help you.
What if they're perfectly happy with their cats and don't want anything to do with you?
I've had that instance as well. And this is where the requirement of that ordinance goes into place. It does require that your county caretaker, anyone that's feeding cats within the township boundaries, must register with the program. If they don't register, again, we go to the house like usual, we explain the program, and we explain the ordinances that are in place for the program, and they're given that week time frame to come register. If they do at that point continue to refuse, they are at that point summoned for the interfering in the program, or in that point interfering with animal control duties.
I don't think I like that at all. I don't know about anybody else, but
At the end of the day, the realm of the program itself is to help. Generally, you're not going to have a resident that's going to say, no, I don't want your help. If you're offering to spay neuter the cats for free, as long as they know that it's for free and they're not going to be euthanized, I've yet to have, in my years of doing it, someone say no.
Are you releasing them back to the same people again?
Yes. The ones that are deemed feral and unadoptable, yes.
Wait a minute, but what if they are adoptable? But
So when they sign the agreement registering with the program, they understand that if they're friendly and adoptable, we will keep them for adoption. And we'll try to, that's where you have that target.
maybe they'd like to keep them. That's my point. You mean, I don't want to see.
So I do understand where you're coming from. So in that aspect, we try to work with them. Again, the overall point of the program itself is to reduce the amount of cats that are outside.
Yeah, it's a pet.
Yeah.
For some people, that cat's a pet.
Right, our cat is
Okay.
outside.
Or is it your own cat inside? So again,
Get that cat.
Oh,
But tickets stay inside.
he goes outside too.
Yes, they are.
I think that there might be some consideration or some concern. There's various farms, and a farm may have 8 or 10 cats, feral cats, to reduce the,
so in that aspect.
and they want them back.
Right, no, fully understand that. So if it's the realm where it's a farm or it's your general cat, my hope is that you would say, hey, listen, that's my cat. I'm careful. I would prefer it back. In that realm, if the township has no objections to that, we can always accommodate that. Again, the overall point of the program itself is to get every cat within the township through the program to where they are fixed, to where there's no additional kittens, and vaccinated to where there's no human health risk. So in
I'm
that realm,
definitely in favor of that, but there's still, we have quite a few farms. We have a large rural community, and we also have individual, like myself,
Right.
I have one cat who's a pet, who likes to sun
Right.
outside all day and loves people, and he's, by the way, every cat I'm 74 years old, and I've had a lot of cats in my lifetime, and every single one started out as a feral kitten.
Exactly. I have 3 in my house that started
And
as
one
ferals.
lived to be 28 years old.
Right. Yep. I have a 22-year-old feral, as mean as they could be when I got him.
Well, no, mine are never mean.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And I happen to believe that cats and dogs are like people. If you love them and they love you back, they're not going to be mean and nasty.
No, I know. So again, answering your question, it's in that, again, I take every situation case by case. If I have a county manager that has the cats and they want those cats back, again, as long as the township within the course of the program has no objections to us releasing those cats back, they have that option.
Well,
I have no
our
objection
cat's
to
well taken care of. He doesn't need any help. But by the same token, if he's walking around outside, and I've never seen him leave our 3 acres, but
Okay.
he might someday, and he's afraid of the road, so he doesn't go near the road. That's
Okay.
wonderful about him. I'd hate to see I'd be very upset if somebody just came along and picked him up.
Is he fixed and microchipped already?
No, he's not microchipped.
Okay.
We don't want to do that to him. And he
Okay.
doesn't have a collar because he hates
I
it.
hear you. So
Well, they'll
in
catch
that-
it when they're outside, too.
Yeah,
they're-
right.
Again, with the collars
But
outside.
he's obviously well taken care of.
Right.
His coat's so soft and furry and
Right. No, yeah, I've been doing it. I've been in the animal welfare industry for about 13 to 14 years, and my background goes into cruelty, so I'm pretty good at determining if a cat's been outside for long enough. With that, again, in that aspect, if he's friendly, it's a matter of, okay, whose cat is this? Okay, and if he ends up going to the shelter, even if we keep a pet at the shelter, by state law, we're still holding them for 7 days in the event that we do catch somebody's own cat. Again, within the normal time frame of that is, if we're keeping them, we have to hold them for that time frame to where hopefully somebody would make that determination that, hey, my cat's missing. And then they either call us or come in where we could get an idea of where it is and say, hey, yeah, we have your cat. And in that time frame, it would be a matter of coming into our facility, signing the redemption form, and you're good to go. And generally what I do is, it's not when the program is in place, it's not a secret that I'm going out. I generally go to a few neighbors in the areas. I'll be within your block, on your street or wherever it's going to be tomorrow. The main course is hopefully I don't get the cops called on me, which has happened. And it's to let them know that I'm in that area at that point, and I'm there to trap the cats
a cat
for the program for
napper.
that. I've been called it all, so. But it's in that realm. It's to where you don't have that issue, as well as if there is a resident that has an indoor-outdoor cat, to where they're told, if you have an indoor-outdoor cat within this time frame tomorrow, keep it inside, to hopefully prevent that issue of coming up.
Yeah, I need to know that if it's somebody's cat and they want it back, you'll give it back to them. Without that, I'll never agree.
Oh,
to this.
if it's somebody's own cat, and they want that cat back, 100%. And the overall realm of the program itself, we can go, and the realm of it is generally, the idea is kittens and friendlies, we have the option of taking. Now, with that being said, if it's somebody's own cat, and it's documented that it's their cat, again, they have the option of taking that cat back 100%.
When you say documented, what does that mean?
Every person that's feeding and caring for cats within the township, if they have a physical colony, they would be registered within this program. If it's just Mr. Walsh, so you have one cat, just say? That's
I got a
your
tough
outfit.
cat behind me. He lives with the foxes and everything else.
Right.
He's got to be a tough cat to live back there.
Yeah. So in that realm, if you want him back, again, I'm not just going onto a random person's property to trap them. I'm generally trapping what's already going to be a colony itself. If you have 1 or 2 stragglers, I'm generally going to a few different houses to say, is this your cat? I'm going to be trapping here. And in that realm, they're hopefully saying, I have a cat that is here, or it's my indoor-outdoor cat. At that point, I'm taking the description. If they have a picture, great. If they could give me a description of what it looks like, then if I catch it, my first thing I do is instead of just throwing the truck and going, if it's in the trap, I'm going to go to their house and say, hey, is this your cat? Yes? Okay. And I ask, is it fixed? Is it vaccinated? If it is, then I can release her right there.
Can I ask a question here, Brian? Penny?
Yes.
Do we have a problem here?
Yes, we do.
We do, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Brian can speak further on it when the phone calls come in. There's pictures.
No, but I'm saying you would
Feral
know.
cat problem, yes. So Associated Humane can only do so much. They really can. Their hands are tied. They can only do so much. They're offering this program if you're interested.
Okay, so you're telling me that we do have a problem here and how
How severe, Brian can go into further detail.
excuse me?
How severe
I don't
problem
know how
is.
severe.
No,
We have
but
a
yes,
problem.
there's a problem. Problem in every town, though.
Is there?
It's not just, it's,
Yeah.
Howell's no different really than any
Okay,
other
listen, I'm
town.
asking a question.
Right.
Yeah.
And it depends on the section of town you're
Right.
in.
Yeah, I'm asking a question, that's all.
So I could tell you there's pretty much not a township in New Jersey that doesn't have some form of amount of feral cats. Whether they're already fixed, again, there are several towns that have already taken the option of doing a program like this, and it's worked great. Seabright? So Seabright, under the chief of police over there, several years ago, took a program directly from the town. They didn't have any sponsors like us or SPCA. They did the program under its, complete on its own, and the feral cats are obviously there, but most of their cats, if not all of them, are through their program where they're fixed and done.
I just need to know if there was a problem and I need to feel safe. I need to feel that if it's somebody's cat and they want it back, you're gonna give it back to them, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
If you tell me that that's the way it works, I'm okay.
It's, yeah, so in that realm, again, if it's somebody's cat, I don't want to take somebody's property any more than the next guy. It's, again, my previous work was doing humane law enforcement. So I'm very big on the letter of the law. And in the state of New Jersey, animals are property. So again, if it comes to where I get the knowledge that it is somebody's cat and they want it back, and again, and the township has no objections for that, I have no problem giving them that cat back. Absolutely not. Again, the realm of the program itself is to eliminate the population that's outside within that feral end of it. Again, whether it's that short or long term. Again, if it's somebody's property, they want the cat back, 100% the cat will go back to them.
And if the governing body at any time wanted to get out of this program, it can, right?
So on the agreement itself, I have to just find it. The agreement itself is the governing body may be canceled by either party within 30 days at any point, but we must have 30 days notification prior.
Okay.
And again, this program itself is in a continuation to our animal control contract. So if that contract does at any point get canceled, this program as well gets canceled.
I'm good.
If I might. So if you go on someone's, or you see a couple of cats and you see that the ear has been clipped, and obviously that's a sign that it's already been neutered or
Yes.
spayed. And this is I know in Eatontown you can take a pet down, I think it's $60, they spay or neuter and do a year's worth of shots.
Yep.
Then you take the kitty home the next night. So there are people that have feral cats outside, and, I guess they deem it a pet, even though it's just outside, but you can see that it's already been taken care of. In that case, you would just walk away from that
So
specific cat.
in that case, what I would generally do is, within the realm of this program, I would still knock on the door and just ask, hey, do you have any documentation to when this cat was fixed and when it was vaccinated last? Again, one of the also availabilities to this program is to where the town can know at a monthly within that update of what their feral cat population is within the borders of the township. So again, even if the cat's not necessarily done through this program, if they are already fixed, they're already vaccinated, person will get some form of documentation showing that. To where we just say, do you have it? Can I see it?
Do you provide the shots on a yearly basis, should somebody have feral cats?
So this is where it's still on that lopside of it. There's a current study right now being done by a doctor in genealogy. I forget his name. I think I provided it to you guys. It's a study of I believe it's either 8 or 10 years for rabies immunity. Right now, I believe they're in year 7. They're either in year 7 or 8 to where the rabies immunity level is still within appropriate levels. So again, anyone that has done TNR will say, catch a cat once, okay. Catch a cat twice, gonna get harder. Catching it 3 times, good luck. My realm of it is, if you want to catch a cat 3 times, you're more likely to go outside in a very sunny day and get hit by lightning. It's extremely hard to catch a cat 3 times. You get some cats that just, they see food, they're right in, they don't care how many times you catch them. You have certain cats and most cats that you're not going to be that fortunate with. Then there's a current study, which I believe I provided to Penny, that does show that immunity level for rabies is well beyond that 1 year as the manufacturer does input.
So the answer to the question is they don't have to retrap if the people have a couple of feral
If they can already
cats
show that they have proof of it.
within a 7 or 8 year period.
Generally, yeah. Again, we can attempt to retrap. I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you and say that we will retrap every cat, because it's just not possible. You have certain cats that once you catch a cat once, they don't want anything to do with the trap. And it's the hardest thing. It's one of the harder things that you can do within animal welfare. Again, I'm not saying that every cat is impossible to get retrapped, but for the main bulk of it, it's hard to retrap them. Again, we could always make the attempt if that's what the municipality.
I mean, the Humane
provides.
Society is doing this now down in Eatontown. You know, you can take your animal
That's
down.
through the that's through the SPCA itself. Yeah. They have the program that's open through their clinic. They have it which is open to the public. If a public member traps a cat, they go to their clinic to have the same availability, surgery, rabies, distemper, and ear tip. That's the basic that they
Right.
offer. Anything additional to that is at a cost to them. Again, above the general cost of that they have imposed already. What we're offering to the townships that we have this program with is actually beyond that. Again, it's the surgery, the rabies vaccine, the distemper vaccine. They are getting microchipped. They're getting the FIV, FVLV test, and any additional medical as seen necessary by our veterinarian.
I was under the impression they did everything but microchip, but whatever the case, there is another program out there if people felt that they wanted to trap a feral cat and have it
Yes,
fixed.
yeah, there's other options short of just going through the SPCA, yes. I'm sorry,
Thank you.
going through the Humane Society, yes.
Right.
And this evening, you want us to vote on this now?
No, if you were interested in moving forward with the program, it's, I believe the next step is to introduce an ordinance that you're interested in establishing a policy to establish the program,
So, okay.
to implement the program.
To go into it, so the next step at this point would be to agree to the program itself, generally, is what we see a lot of the municipalities do. They agree and they sign that program, and the next step from there would be if the township, whether it's a council or the mayor's office itself, want to sit down and actually customize their ordinances to, again, fit their town. That's what I did that with the township of Aberdeen. I think I sat with the mayor and the town manager for about 2.5 hours, and customizing those ordinances specific to the township. That's an option that we're making available to you guys.
I think that's what we need, don't you all?
Yes.
The program itself needs specific ordinances, and again, it allows for the program. Again, the program itself, once the person registers as a county manager with the program, it is in their protection, because at that point, they're agreeing to the requirements for the program to where they're now protected by the program to continue to feed, as long as they continue with the requirements of that program itself.
Do you have known locations now that you're looking at?
There's a few
Yes.
that I believe I have within my email. I don't have it available to me to speak on right now. What I would generally do in this aspect is once we agree to this program and we have that ordinance that's approved, when we have that public meeting to where you speak with your residents and they are updated on the program itself, within that meeting is generally where you'll get a lot of people that are either feeding or neighbors that know that their neighbor's feeding, or they see random cats around. That's where you get a bulk of the amount of information on it. Again, Howell is a pretty large township, as you guys know. Short of me and your animal control and every one of our other animal control officers coming in to look around, we're not going to find every county out there. And it does rely on heavily on the public availability to let us know where there may be a county that maybe we missed one.
So you mentioned that you were in other towns, and do you have examples that you could share with the governing body so that we could review that?
As far as ordinances,
Yes,
so I provided Penny with...
so that we could
Yep.
customize?
So I provided Penny with a copy of the ordinances from the Borough of Highlands that I work with them to establish, as well as I have the ordinances from Aberdeen. I'm just waiting for them to send me a final copy that I'd be more than happy to share with the governing body.
So you currently only work with 2 other areas?
So within the Humane Society aspect of it, we don't contract with the Borough of Highlands. That's from my time at the SPCA.
Who do you contract with?
There's 23 towns that we contract with at this time. I can provide the list of those towns, and at this point, we have met with every one of those towns at a minimum, the preliminary of advising them of the program. So there are multiple towns where we're at different stages of meeting with it. At this point, the Township of Aberdeen and the Borough of Union Beach are the furthest within the process as far as whether it's council meetings or actually waiting on implementation of those ordinances itself.
So if you could also share a list with the other townships that you're working with, or the other counties that you're working with, and where you are in the stage of that.
Yeah. Again, what I can say is we're still on the newer side of it. I'm still new to the Humane Society. I've only been there for about a month. So it's my month frame of being there. They brought me on specifically for this program itself and implementing it within the townships that they contract with. So again, the program itself is relatively new. The realm and the idea of the program is not so new.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, thank you very much. At this point, I would like to open up for public discussion.
Mayor, before you do that, I
Yes,
think...
I'm sorry.
Did you have something?
Yeah,
I know
I
you
have-
didn't open it up to the
Oh, I'm so
council.
sorry. I thought I
That's
did
all right.
before.
No, you went that way, but you didn't come to us.
Sorry.
That's all right. No big deal. Just a thought that I had and wanted to discuss with council. February is a very short month, and we have a lot of extra meetings, budget, et cetera. And I was wondering if it wouldn't be wise and do a favor to all of us as well as the employees that have to set up for all the meetings, if we substitute our second meeting of the month for one of the budget meetings.
I have no problem with that. I have no issues with that.
What do
Well,
you
we
think?
did advertise our budget meetings, the 3 upcoming ones, the end of this week and next week. I can only add that there is nothing scheduled, there's nothing on for Tuesday, Feb. 20 regular meeting.
Why don't we just do that?
Just cancel that.
Just cancel Feb.
Why don't
20.
we cancel February 20th and just go into a regular meeting at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock and take care of it next Thursday?
On the 15th?
Yeah.
Is that a planning board evening?
Yeah, there's a planning board meeting that night.
Even more reason to do it and get it
Yeah.
over with.
No, I know.
I'm not following. Are you trying to have a regular meeting? What kind of business do you want?
Yeah, well,
The public's invited to every meeting, so the public will be at
I
your
know.
budget meeting.
Well, I had suggested last week why we
I'm
bother
not
having a
certain what
meeting
you want
tonight.
on your regular agenda, because I don't have anything, so
You don't
I'm
have
just
anything for
asking.
My only concern would be if there would be anything for executive session in terms of some of our executive session.
We can always have an executive session at the budget meeting.
So we may want to leave that as a,
Am I
you know.
not correct, Mr. Clark?
It's advertised as such.
Yes. Well, then we're clear.
You're fine?
We're golden.
It's just a matter of picking whether we just cancel the 20th or switch one of the, I'd like to see switching one of the budget meetings, because that doesn't mean a lot of meetings in 1 week. The next 2 weeks are scheduled with several.
but they're early, which is what you'd rather have, 4
Oh,
o'clock.
I don't mind, we could make it on the 20th, still go on the 20th early, it doesn't have to be,
What
the
day's
same
the
as-
20th?
Tuesday, that's your
Tuesday.
regular your next regular meeting currently is scheduled for Tuesday, Feb. 20.
I have no problem.
And you'd have to
Whatever you-
reschedule one of the budget meetings.
right.
Yeah, whatever you'd like to do,
Whatever you'd like
is
to do.
okay with me.
For example, instead of next Tuesday, the 13th, have that budget meeting on the 20th. If that would be all right with everybody. If that works for the township, the employees, if you stop and think about
have
all
anything, so.
the departments and people that it takes to make a meeting, we come and we get the information ahead of time, the agenda is all done, and what that represents, and this is a relatively short one, it's land use, engineering maybe, purchasing maybe, but definitely always the manager's office, the clerk's office. So, and they're also involved in the budget meetings too. So, for all of us, not just
It's true, they're
council.
overworked.
Right, not really.
What?
But it would be helpful anyway if we had one less meeting in February.
I'm amenable to whatever you want.
Yeah, and I'm okay too.
Evelyn?
And you know, just so you know, Mrs. Smith, we're not meeting all of the department heads.
I know.
Yeah, right, we're all,
We're still taking time looking over the budget though and discussing.
Just as a quick comment, I have the department heads already set up on a schedule, so I would have to check their availability.
Well, then
If you're
it's
looking to
then
move
it's
that.
easier just to cancel the 20th.
The regular
That would
meeting.
be the most efficient thing to do, wouldn't it?
I would agree.
It seems to be.
Yeah.
and let's just have our regular meeting after the budget meeting on the 15th. Ms. Woman said we don't have anything on it,
There's nothing on
so we'll just
Well,
have a
that's
public
what we-
discussion, whatever we gotta do.
it.
I mean,
The
if I
15th
don't
is-
talk much, it could be over in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
Amen.
The planning board meeting is that night.
Yeah,
Right.
we're just gonna,
Already have
yeah.
So canceling the 20th is probably the most prudent thing to do. It wouldn't interfere with the previous scheduling that the manager's done with the departments. So,
Who do we have anyway? Who did your schedule for what?
Pull that up for you. Thursday, February 8th, I have the manager, finance, Bureau of Fire Prevention, and Department of Public Works.
So Thursday's the manager,
Finance,
DPW, but I thought we were gonna have the smaller departments if they had no changes.
there was a few that requested staffing changes. You said you wanted those to appear?
If they want an extra people.
Yes.
That is the correct answer. All right, so that's on Thursday,
8th.
The 8th,
the 8th.
day after tomorrow.
Okay, Tuesday the
13th,
13th, who do you have?
OEM,
IT, and police.
OEM,
IT, and Police Department.
IT, and PD.
Right.
And then Thursday the 15th.
Senior Center, Sewer, and Community Development.
Well, if we cut community development out, then we have a good meeting. We could-
That's fine.
We're
No
not gonna-
problem at all.
Yeah, we're not gonna have much in, okay. Whatever you'd like. I'm game.
So the question is, are you going to add a council meeting to the end of any of these budget meetings? That's,
I don't think that's necessary. That would defeat part of the purpose.
I'm totally okay
And
with that.
yet
I'm
they've,
just asking the
yeah,
question.
they've already put on executive session could occur, so we're covered there if there's anything that does come up. So apparently just canceling the 20th would be probably the best thing to do and the easiest for all concerned. That's,
Are we gonna go
My
do
thinking.
executive after these meetings? Correct, or before?
If necessary.
If it's actually advertised, if necessary, you don't have to go into one.
So we can get brought up on litigation if.
Well,
need
it's
be there.
advertised that you can go in,
Yes.
so there's no,
Right.
in that
I
aspect.
mean, you're the best, Miss Walden.
I
So
try.
forget can the 20th.
Thank you for noticing.
Just wanted to bring that out in public on TV.
So we're good? The meeting is canceled on the 20th? Okay.
Whatever you like to do is okay with me.
Is there anything else?
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
We all received a letter a couple of weeks ago from Fire District 1 about a service that's going to be cut from them. I think as long as I'm up here and Councilman Walsh and Pauline, we've heard some things about Fire District. There's an inequity, no fault of the department other than the demographics of this district and its commercial ratables and the high tax levy. I know we spoke about this. I'm looking to see if there's consensus to give the manager direction and see if we bring some stakeholders to the table to see how we're going to move forward, if we want to move forward, if we're going to look at redistricting lines in the fire district. I don't know the answer, but at some point, this has been an issue ongoing a long time. So, seems like this letter came out. There's an article in the newspaper about it. Is this the time? Or do we just continue status quo? So,
I'm ready to discuss it.
so if we get consensus, I think, Brian, you would set up a meeting with whoever the stakeholders are.
Sure. I know they do have a joint board meeting. I'll confer with Bob Lewis when that is.
I am not for any meeting that's not in public. That's me personally, but I don't have to be involved. Okay, if there's a meeting about redrawing district lines or combining fire districts, I want it in public.
I have no
on
issue
TV.
with that.
I have no
I think
issue
the
with
due
that.
diligence part would be the initial meeting with the manager, and then if any further conversations, meetings need to take place, absolutely, we would do it in public.
That's all, I just wanted to,
I have no issue with that.
yeah. You know, I've heard it for a long time up here, how some of the districts pay a lot more
Right.
per value than others. I don't know what the answer is. I can tell you this much from what I heard from them in the past. None of them want to give up being chiefs, none of them want to give up their commissioner spots, none of them want to change anything. I don't know. So,
Well, something's changed, right? So, I mean, there's a service that's not being provided for whatever reason, you know. We've read the reason that they've given, whether we agree or not, or
You know the
disagree.
reason?
Well,
they had a grant. They had a grant that paid for it. Now all of a sudden there's no grant, they don't want to pay for it.
I just think now may be the time to have a dialogue. So, if we're all in consensus, I think then that's the manager will set that up with the joint or whoever you need to. I'm not even sure.
Sure.
And
And
any
then
action would be
report back to
taken.
us what you got out of that conversation, and if any meeting needs to take place publicly, we'll schedule it on the agenda.
Okay, sounds good.
Good idea.
Okay.
There is one other issue that I'd like to bring up. Is this appropriate? Oh, it will be. We have the zoning board does the end of the year report, and the idea behind that is that if there's a lot of issues that keep going through the zoning board, there may need to be some ordinance changes so that the enforcement department can properly do their job and everybody's clear when they do the application, how things are working. So I know that a couple of things had gone to our attorney for his review. There is an issue of signs on 33 for businesses, and I'd like that to be included in Mr. Clark's endeavors so that we can at least address 2 or 3 of the most prominent things that I'm aware of as quickly as possible, and then go through the rest of the list from the planning board so that we can expedite and actually prohibit problems, you know, just to make it cleaner for our enforcement department as well as our applicants and present commercial businesses.
How, if I can ask now, I don't want to get into a big thing because the night's going fast. But how, you just said signs on 33, how are they
I'm sorry,
affected?
signs on 9, I'm sorry, did I say 33?
Yeah.
There's a couple of issues that one issue had come up that I became aware of with one business that they had a sign from the previous business that was there, you know, along the road. But once they made the Highway 9 wider, now that's actually part of DOT's property. So there's an issue of, do we have a sign along the road? Do we have the sign on the building? And, you know, I'm thinking.
Well, that's a wide open problem.
Yeah, so
yeah.
if we could do an
But a
ordinance
problem.
that would, you know, circumvent a lot of the issues, then I just think we could clean it up and everybody knows exactly what's expected and what's permitted.
Sounds like it needs to be done, but it's going to take some research to figure out the
Yeah.
best way to handle it.
I have faith in Mr. Clark that he'll come up with something that's perfect for the town. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up
Give you
that
the job.
there has been that report done, and I'd like to make sure that we utilize some of those things, because those things that come to the zoning board repeatedly, obviously, are an issue for enforcement. And, you know, it'd be nice just, if we can circumvent any issues with our commercial businesses and do the right thing in a fair playing ground, I just think it's incumbent upon us to do so. Thanks.
Okay. I would like to open up this, at this point, the public portion of the meeting. I'm not sure how to say this last name. Michelle Gerloni?
Yeah.
Come on up, please.
Okay. I'm here to discuss a health
Name-
emergency.
Mayor,
Should I say?
name and address?
Oh, may I have your name and address, please?
Sure,
I'm so
Michelle
sorry.
Grillone, 26 Yellowstone Lane, Howell, New Jersey. I'm here to discuss a health emergency that affects the allergic community. This week, Texas Roadhouse opens up on Route 9 in Howell. They have a gimmick of serving peanuts and encouraging the customers to throw the peanuts all over the floor. This is a huge concern, not only in the location, but for cross-contamination, as this invisible peanut protein and also the peanut dust and shells can be tracked into all surrounding areas, shopping plazas, the movie theater in that development. I have several loved ones with peanut allergy, as well as are hearing of people developing it every day at different ages that used to be able to safely consume peanuts, going to the point from being able to eat them to being airborne for having anaphylactic reactions. We don't know why it's happening. It's very unfortunate. But in this day and age, a restaurant like that should not be able to spread it around by throwing it on the floor. Not only is it an allergic concern, but it's a health hazard, it's a fire hazard, it's a slipping hazard. Several similar restaurants have been sued for slipping hazards with waitresses and customers getting hurt. I think a ground round burned down years ago due to the fire hazard from having the sawdust all over the floor. It attracts rodents, but mainly just for the, allergic concern. It's really, in this day and age, it should not be allowed to be done. We really need to put a stop to it. We understand that we don't have to go inside of that place, but it also limits just the surrounding areas, and just being tracked around, this protein can live, on people's clothing, their shoes. We try so hard to keep it out of our home, and this would be, it could get into the schools, just creating, a mess. So really the health department said it is illegal to have food product on the floor. However, the restaurant is unaware of this. They did say they plan to have and encourage the throwing of the peanuts. I did speak with the location. Corporate relations said that if they have enough feedback, they might be able to put a stop to it. Barnacle Bill's was a similar restaurant in Rumson, New Jersey. They used to do the same thing. Around the time of Sandy, they stopped doing it. And their health department of that town strongly suggested that they stop doing it. They did stop doing it. And they did mention that they also save a lot of money on peanuts that way. But also just to, to be considerate of, maybe they can get another gimmick. They could still serve them, but not to encourage spreading the allergen all over where it can get outside of the facility.
Seems as though the health department is already taking care of it.
I can't say I disagree with you, but Monmouth County Health Department is who oversees it in Howell. And I can't tell you I disagree with you, Ed. It makes sense.
Right. They did say they would be inspecting. They wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt since I guess the Howell location just opened. But when you speak to their location, they say they were not contacted by the Board of Health and that they do continue to do that. So maybe at inspection time, if they see it, if they don't clean it up and they see it, they might get written up for that. But it's not enough has been done to tell them, you know, because they do provide buckets for the shells, but they encourage throwing them on the floor as well. So they have not been contacted by the Board of Health.
Excuse me, have you contacted the Board of Health?
I did. I contacted them twice, yes, and several other people I know have contacted them as well. They said they would be on them to make sure that it's cleaned, that it's not on the floor.
Then it sounds like you've taken care of what you
They
have to.
haven't, yeah, but
you know, they do have public meetings like we have here.
okay.
The Board of Health, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the dates. I believe it's once a month, but you can call them and ask. They'll tell you when it is.
Okay.
I'll be with the clerk of the Board of Freeholders tomorrow. I will write down and ask her. And we have your name and number, you're on the list?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I get the information, will you please contact her and let her know? I will try to find out when those meetings are.
Okay, thank you. Because the man that I spoke with, he was in charge of inspections in Howell, and he did say that he couldn't tell them to stop doing it as far as, but that he would be on them for making sure that they were cleaning the floors. So there was discrepancy as to whether or not it was allowed to be thrown, but then at the end of the night, they're cleaning it. But still, people are walking in and out of there, tracking it around, and even just the dusting it up causes it to be more airborne. So that's all I just wanted to mention. Thank you.
I'll check that.
Thank you. Barbara?
Yeah, I'll check with Marion tomorrow.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. Mayor, Council, why can't you people be proactive and send a letter to Texas Roadhouse Restaurant and their corporate asking them not to do it? I mean, you are the council, you are the governing body of this town. If someone's coming up here and telling you there's a severe health hazard, and what are you going to do if some handicapped person or in a wheelchair falls out of a wheelchair or falls down and breaks a leg? I mean, they can't continue to do this. It's nonsense. Why can't you people be proactive and just send these people a letter? That would be nice. Really. I know. I know. No reaction. Say.
Well, I think we just sort of handled it as best as we felt that we could at this point in time by having the Board of Health.
If she's telling you the Board of Health hasn't contacted these people, then that's not a satisfactory answer.
Well,
Barbara, may I comment?
Sure.
Because we just get notified by
Okay,
this
fine.
resident. You're up here criticizing us for not being proactive.
Well,
This is a new business that just came to Howell. They
Correct.
didn't even open yet.
Yeah, they
So
are.
how about allowing us,
Okay, absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. 9A23, please. Could you explain oppose exploration of groundwater resources application in the matter of Brick Township, Ocean County, to divert water from Kirkwood, Cohansey Aquifer through 10 existing and 6 proposed wells? What is going to happen, and why are they doing this? Why is anybody doing this? And for what reason?
Brick Township has applied for an application through the DEP to pump some excess water quantities out of their existing wells and pumps to do irrigation. This aquifer affects Howell and other Barnegat Bay areas. So we are, if the council so chooses, opposing their permit that they've,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. I mean,
Barbara,
they're going to impact our
It's
water as well.
outrageous. It's over 1 million gallons a month. They want
But that's,
it
it's
for
not.
irrigation.
It's our, but what about us? What about us? What about our people? Don't we count?
Well, that's why we're doing this.
That's why we're opposing
We need
it.
drinking water also.
Exactly.
I mean, we're giving
This is not for drinking water.
Whatever-
This is for irrigation.
I mean, we're winding up from another meeting from Green Acres, giving Lakewood a water main, and now we're gonna do this. That's nonsense. Please, absolutely, I absolutely agree with you.
What would you like us to do, Barbara?
Oppose it,
Okay.
absolutely. Have a public hearing of
Second.
Howell's residents or whatever it is.
Second.
Oppose it, absolutely, by ordinance or any which way you have to do it.
We're with you.
Absolutely, I think that's absolutely insane.
Well, the Environmental Commission asked them to have their hearing here, but we haven't heard anything, so, and I know I've never heard of the DEP moving their meetings, so I guess they
Oh,
just
I don't know,
don't
maybe
do
we
it.
can sort of,
But, so our only recourse
romance
is
the-
to oppose it right now.
yeah, romance the stone with the DEP. Maybe they'll once and for all, once give in. Okay.
Anyway, that's a quick explanation.
Okay, as far as you canceling your council meeting for the 20th, and you're planning on having a meeting on the 15th, is that a planning board night meeting?
Those are budget
We
meetings.
have a budget meeting at 4 o'clock, Barbara.
Okay, because planning board, I mean, they've already noticed their people, and the lawyers are spending money on
No,
noticing their
that's all,
clients.
it's all, they
Don't
know
worry,
that.
Barbara.
I'm not, just asking.
It's okay.
One will not impinge upon the
All right, because I know I just printed out that agenda tonight, and it's the 15th. Okay, and I have something to say about this cat thing. It's my opinion that if you do this, let's say it's my opinion. It's my opinion if you wind up doing this, you're going to have a lot of very unhappy homeowners of pets in this town. And if this guy's going to go knocking on doors like Trump is knocking on doors to take people out and deport them, that's what you got, Mr. Cat Rescuer? No, Mr. Cat knocking on doors to drag the cats out of here and deport them. Oh, God knows what he's going to do with them. Not a great idea, guys. I wouldn't do it. Because you're going to have a nice revolt of pet owners in this town, and I don't blame them. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Hal.
Thank you, Barbara.
Great to be here.
It's Trump's fault.
Stephen Johnson?
I know, exactly.
Come on, Barbara, sit next to him. Warm up.
He is.
Come on, Barbara.
Of course he is.
Give the guy a break. He's just trying to do his job.
On people's backs, honey.
Good evening, Stephen Johnson, Brickyard Road at Howell. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. Over the last couple of months, I've been driving up and down Route 9, and I've experienced a couple sightings, 3 sightings actually, of people making left-hand turns inappropriately on Route 9. And it kind of struck me, I said, you know, I got to pay attention to this and start looking at the signage up and down Route 9. And what I discovered was that there's the signage for left-hand turns, no turns. They're all over the place. They're before the intersection, they're after the intersection, they're on the right-hand shoulder, they're up on the boom by the light, they're on the pole, they're everywhere. They're either in text or they're in graphics. They're different sizes, different colors, different shapes, and it's like people could be very confused by what's happening on Route 9 when they want to make a turn or shouldn't be making a turn. So to get consistency and uniformity, maybe the best route for this, a suggestion would be to have our police department and the DOT review our signage on Route 9, because I think it's pretty dangerous the way it is. I know it's difficult, there's a lot of traffic, you're going at 50 miles an hour, and if you're going to make some decisions, you're looking at the traffic lights, you're looking at the traffic around you, you're not really focusing on the signs per se, because you're going 50 miles an hour and you've got a split second to make a decision. Maybe this doesn't fit into DOT standards, but maybe that left-hand lane, instead of having a green lens on that light, maybe an arrow showing straight ahead only would be an easy, inexpensive, additional safety factor that could be used. So people are focusing on the traffic light because they want to know whether they're going to get through the intersection or not. But the signage is very confusing. And apparently, when I observe these people, they're not from Howell. They're either from out of state or somewhere else in the state. So for us locally, it's a no-brainer. For these people from other areas, it's something we should probably think about. My second topic that I want to talk about tonight, the transfer station that everybody's tired of hearing about, obviously. My wife and I don't live in that area of Howell, but we are vehemently opposed to that transfer station because of a number of reasons. As a former planning board chairman, one of the things that I recognized immediately was that it's not a permitted use in any of our ordinances. So we need to make that point to the freeholders or anybody else. I did hear that once the other night at the hearing, but as a planning board chairman, that struck me as well. Additionally, everybody's talking about the large trucks, the heavy trucks, the school buses, the safety. The roads aren't engineered for these heavy trucks. That brought up another topic that I think we need to think about and maybe ponder, maybe research a little bit. I'm not proposing it outright yet because I think it's a little complex. That is, we have an awful lot of refuse collectors in Howell. There are probably 5 or 6 different companies that go up and down our streets every week, twice a week. As a result, we have a lot of heavy equipment on our roads, which are deteriorating our roads. We have a lot of traffic that could conflict with school buses or children or walkers, whatnot. And I would think that maybe a solution to this might be having waste districts and bidding for the routes in those waste districts. The companies would be more efficient because they'd be collecting from every household instead of every 8th or 10th or 15th household. And then the next guy comes down the street the same day or the next day, and there go the same thing. And we have garbage cans all over the place, and people putting garbage out 6 days of the week. Something to think about. So that's a possibility. Maybe you have 4 districts, 6 districts, something like that. But something to consider. Be more efficient for the refuse haulers. It would be cost effective, and it would also help our township. And the last subject I want to talk about is a thing called Stop the Dump in Howell. Now, I believe in freedom of speech, but calling something a dump when it is not a dump is just an outright lie and distortion to what's going on in our community. And I think this town council, being a target of this Facebook publication page, whatever you want to call it, needs to fight back a little bit and pass a resolution sending it to Facebook, asking them to investigate the admins of this web page or Facebook page and see whether or not they should be warned or censored for lies and distortions in a public way. I saw these people getting incited by their publications with seagulls and bulldozers and garbage piles and all kinds of things that had nothing to do with a transfer station. And what did they do? They came up and cajoled you and blasted you and booed you because you were going on vacation on a cruise ship. All right? So, okay, but that's not good public, I don't know what you call it, presentation, mature dialogue, whatever you want to call it. But I think this council, having been a target, should ask Facebook to investigate these people and give them a warning to say, look, if you're going to do this kind of stuff, keep it honest and above board and not attack people. All right, that's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Novak?
My questions have been answered thank you.
Is there anyone else that has not signed the document to come up to speak?
My name is Marlene Swenson. I live
Got to
on-
speak into the mic so I can pick it up.
My name is Marlene Swenson, and I live on Kiwi Loop. Who knows where you used to live?
I used to live over there.
I know Craig, too.
What?
I'm very good friends with Craig and Christy, so we were at the graduation party together, Alexis's. Anyway, I'm here about the cat issue, and to represent. I'm with Jersey Shore Animal Foundation. I'm a volunteer. We house our adoptable cats at the Howell PetSmart. I get anywhere from 1 to 10 calls in a week about cats and about trapping of cats. My buddy back here, she's been to several sites in Howell with me. I have a flyer here. If you have one unspayed cat and it has 4 kittens, in 8 months, it'll have 16 kittens. And then in 16 months, you have 36 kittens that are unwanted and walking around the streets. They're going through garbage dumpsters. They're getting hit by cars. It happens all the time. So the proposal that the Humane Society is making is a very, very good for the town and for the people of this town. Jamie and I have worked on colonies in this town together. You have no idea what we see and what we've seen in the town. And it does need to be addressed, and it does need to be taken care of. We are more than welcome, as Jersey Shore Animal Foundation representative, to continue to work with the Humane Society. I have just got a call very recently about a colony, and I went and spoke to the gentleman who owns the house, and he's going to allow me on the property. Right now it's winter, so we usually don't do as much TNR right now, but as soon as the weather lets up, I will be at that person's house. He must have over 50 cats at his house. Unspayed, unneutered, and kittens running around, and they're in a very busy street, and they're getting killed by cars. So I would hope that the board and the council does think about this and gives it a very serious consideration. Just because we're here in Howell, the calls come into us. People stop in the store when they see there's kittens. Oh, I have 20 cats in my backyard. Did you ever fix them? No. Do I have to? I can't afford to do that. On my flyer here, not only are they offering to do it for free, we work with what is called animal birth control. You can get a voucher number, and you can take your cats to East Coast Spay Clinic, which is in Toms River, and they offer a similar service. Jersey Shore Animal Foundation also offers a service once a month to bring your animals, whether it's a cat, dog, anything that can reproduce. We have a spay clinic day, and it's $25 for the whole entire service. So between what the Humane Society is offering and what our organization can offer, we only hope that the board takes this into consideration.
Thank you.
It's a good thing. It really is. We've saved many lives. One site last year, I saved 22 kittens and trapped 30 cats. And those kittens are all in forever homes now, not living in the streets.
Kiwi Loop, you know, I used to live there on 40 Kiwi Loop, right?
You did. I'm at 22.
I love that neighborhood.
Penny, you said that you recognize through your office that there's a problem with this. Is there anything on our website to
No,
give
but
information?
you can find it on other websites. Information, it's a new program, brand new.
No, not the ASPCA programs, but
Yes,
programs
there
in
is.
general?
Not a program. The problem. You'll find the problem online.
Yeah, but not on our website or on our website.
No,
Can we get something on our website? I mean, I've done some research on this,
that's a good idea.
TNR, but can we get something up there, Brian?
Sure.
Maybe some information if someone has a problem until this program, if it comes into effect, maybe we could just lead them to where, for example, a program like this that I just heard about.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Jamie Ellers, 105 Vienna Road. I've been a resident of Howell for 25 years. I've trapped for 25 years. You do have a problem in this town of feral cats. Just last year, I trapped about 66 cats, 38 of them were females. Times that by 5. There's a big problem here, and I wish you would certainly, committee, take a look at what the Humane Society is offering this town. I get calls from friends of friends. I hear you trap. I'm there, I'm helping. I'm for a cat, saving one cat at a time, making a difference for this town.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Larissa O'Donnell, 27 Barron Meadow Lane, Howell. As a resident here of 30 years, we live on an old farm. Naturally, it doesn't look like when we bought it, but what has happened over the years, people have dumped pregnant females at our location because they say, oh, it's a farm, they need cats. And we were fortunate enough to work with different rescues to have these animals spayed and neutered and returned to our farm where we continue to take care of them. Now, what I'm particularly interested in, what the Humane Society is offering, is that it's a free service to the township. Many people are aware of colonies and strays in different parts of the town that aren't necessarily a colony, but they see a cat and they say, oh my God, it's a stray cat, what am I going to do? And through Facebook, invariably, I get involved, I go out myself and I trap it and I take care of it. In this free program that AHS has, what is beneficial to all of the residents is that if you're aware of a colony of cats or a group of strays and you want to take it upon yourself to do it, you can have this arranged with the Monmouth County SPCA, where you have to take time off from work to be there Monday and Tuesday morning by 7 o'clock, and you have out-of-pocket costs that you have to pay the Monmouth County SPCA to. This would eliminate that headache that people have. The Humane Society can come in, set up the TNR program. It's no cost to the township. It's no cost to the individual citizen. So that's why I'm endorsing this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, there is one slight difference, though, and that is, if they trap them, they don't have to give them back. I mean, if it's somebody's property, I mean, that's a difference than bringing your cat someplace. Then if it gets trapped and nobody claims it within 7 days, it's gone. It's like, I'm not saying I'm against it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying I'm against it, but it's slightly different than bringing your cat somewhere, getting shots for it, getting sprayed, and it's slightly different. It's a different program than that.
Well, it is slightly different, but then when you take it to the Monmouth County SPCA as a stray, you can just throw up your hands and say euthanize it. So that happens too.
My name is Kathy Chahansky. I live 22 Walnut Drive in Howell, and I am in support of the feral cat TNR program. My husband and I have personally trapped and fixed several cats. People we see that are, if we just see a stray cat, if we could catch it, we do. We actually have some that we have on our property that years ago we trapped and we take care of. I've had neighbors come to me that have stray cats and they say, well, can we put them on your property and just leave them because we don't know what to do? And I try to tell them, make some phone calls, but I have looked high and low and made phone calls myself and there are no resources. The rescues are inundated, they can't afford it, they don't have room for these cats, and they just say, I'm sorry. And the cats that are out there are sick. A lot of them are not being taken care of. They have eye infections, they're sick, and they're dying. I mean, I don't want to see this happen to the cats, and they breed so quickly, and people can't afford to take care of these cats. They can't afford to get them fixed. They might be elderly, they might be sick, they might care about taking care of the animal, but they have no resources to get the animal help. And I don't think it's a matter of someone coming on your property and taking your cat. I mean, if there's a bunch of strays, sure they're going to go there. Is your cat hanging out with strays? Well, then, okay, there is that possibility. But they are informing people that they're doing this. They're knocking on doors. They're letting everyone know. They're not going in the dead of night and doing this without people knowing. I mean, if you see the problems that I've seen, and I'm not even in the rescue business, and it is heartbreaking to see what's happening to the animals. It is out of control. It really is. And I wish I could do more. But what am I going to do with all these cats? Take them all to my property? I can't have 100 cats at my house. Nobody can. I mean, it is unbelievable. I'm sorry. It's really personal to me because I myself, as I said, am not a rescue, and I've been doing this for years. And I wanted to do it in freehold, but it's illegal there, or it used to be, so I could get arrested. So I'm going to watch these cats breed and breed and breed? I mean, that's crazy. It's absolute insanity. Something really needs to be done, and I'm really glad that you're considering this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Veronica Arensbeck, Associated Humane Society General Manager.
Your address?
212 Pine Place, Red Bank, New Jersey. Well, I'm with the Associated Humane Society. So just to clarify, our shelter has many, many cats, tame cats for adoption. If there is a situation where someone has many cats and there are tame ones in between, and we feel that it's not a case of hoarding and too many cats, we would evaluate something like that. And if they wanted to keep 2, 3, 4, I'm not sure if Howell has an ordinance on the amount of cats that you can have in your home or animals.
Well, these aren't in their house, though. These are outside
We
cats.
did have something with dogs years ago.
Right, but these are feral outside cats, so it's not in the house.
They're strays. They're supposed to be.
Okay, but say they're indoor-outdoor cats, like you were saying, they're their own cats. It's case by case. If they want to keep 4 of the friendly cats, and as long as they're spayed and neutered, I don't have a problem with that, and we are willing to give them back. And we would, in certain situations, ask for some help with the TNR in those situations, because, this is going to be hopefully grant-funded, eventually, and donations received to help us out with this program. Right now, our veterinarians in Popcorn Park and in Tinton Falls are doing the spay and neuters, as Brian will start trapping them. So it is a case by case. It's not where we want to take people's animals and friendly cats. We're doing it so that these friendly cats don't live outside and can't get inside where they really should be. Friendly cats, in my opinion, belong in the house. Do I have cats myself that go indoor and outdoor? Yeah, I have a doggy door. But, I do take that risk as well of them being trapped by my neighbor who doesn't want them in their yard. So my cats are microchipped, and if they're missing, I look for them. And if I find them in the shelter, I have to get them out before the 7 days, or it's my own fault that I allowed them to leave my property. So that's kind of, what we have here. And again, we don't want to keep all these cats. We just want to try and do the right thing and keep it to a minimal. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question, please? So being that you're our animal control now, without going into all the process, what happens if this problem arises, you hear of a stray cat or, fetal cat, and how do you deal with it without this program?
So right now, in our contract, we have in there, we do not deal with stray cat population, feral cat situations. If someone were to call us, though, and they have a cat on their property and they trapped it, they received the trap through the township, we will go on the property and we will look at it. And currently, if it is ear-tipped, and so we know that that cat is someone's colony cat or someone's cat because it's ear-tipped, it's spayed and neutered, looks healthy, we will release it. And
so the township, the township is trapping?
So,
that doesn't sound...
well, the township, you have traps that you lend out to your citizens if they have a problem or if they have a cat that's coming on their property. And if the cat is on their property and they set the trap and they have it Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, that's not an emergency situation, we will come out and get it. If it's ear-tipped, we will tell that resident, this cat is ear-tipped, so someone here in this area is feeding it. It's not reproducing. If they say it's a problem and they don't want it there, we will remove it. But we will release it if it is TNR'd, if it is a spayed or neutered cat. And again, what Brian said before, chances are that cat will not go back on that property or back in that trap again because it's afraid. It's already been there, done that, made the mistake of going in there again, and the third time is probably not going to be there. Hopefully it'll stay off the property too. We also do encourage certain sprays, citrus sprays that you can buy as a deterrent to keep cats off of the property. They don't like that citrus smell. So, you do have to reapply them if it rains a lot. But there are other means to keep feral cats off of your property if you don't want them there.
Thank you. Penny,
Yes.
how does a resident get a trap, just for public
There's only
edification?
a limited amount, and I know that we do have them. I don't know if we.
So who does the resident contact? Is it through your
Yes,
department?
it is.
So they would call the clerk's office,
Yes.
say that they're requesting a trap.
Right.
If we have one available.
Situation.
If they have one available, they come pick it up?
I don't know that's how it works. Does Associated Humane actually deliver the trap, or does the resident come and pick it up? I'm sorry, I don't know this.
Either way, depending on if the person can make it here, we would drop it off to if they want us.
I'm sorry, I don't.
No, it's okay. It's just
Right,
good to get it out on
I actually don't
public.
know those particulars.
So typically, they'll call the clerk's office.
That
We
much
could
I
make
do.
arrangements for our
Arrangements
animal
are made.
control to drop off the trap. Listen, I'm here 10 years. I don't know this, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it is out of the clerk's office, though, but there is another individual that does solely deal with this.
Is that information available on the site, our website?
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
It will be if it's not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's nice to have this in place, but if we don't share the information, it's worthless.
What was that?
Somebody's phone.
Okay. I'm closing this portion of the meeting, and I'd like to go to the consent agenda items, please.
I would make a motion for 9A1 through 9A23 to be moved.
How about the motions?
In the motions.
9B4.
Motions 9B2 through 9B9.
Right.
Leaving 9B1 separate because they are appointments.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
A motion for 9B1 for the appointments.
Who are we looking at?
This isn't the one you're switching?
It's
Yeah, that's
this
just
is the
switching
one that
the
we
It is.
switched.
Yeah, I just
So
want to be certain.
They're the ones we switched last meeting?
Yes.
Make a
Tom
motion to
Boyle
approve.
will be alternate 1, and Robert Seaman will be alternate 2.
Correct.
Make a motion
Thank
to
you.
approve that?
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
That one's you, Mayor.
10-1 is me.
Public hearing on ordinance.
Ordinance number 018-1, introduced and passed on first reading on 1/23/18 and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of 1/26/18 is submitted, and it is noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and that copies were available to the general public upon request.
Title of ordinance. Ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, authorizing the private sale of Block 228, Lot 5 in the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-1.
I would like to open this for public hearing. Seeing no one, I've closed this section, and I would like a motion, please.
Motion to ordinance number O-18-1 be finally passed and adopted. The notice of its passage and adoption be published in the 2/9/18 issue of the Asbury Park Press by reference to its title only.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. I'm scrolling. Are there any new ordinances?
No.
Any unfinished business?
No.
For information purposes, the municipal offices will be closed on Monday, February 19, 2018, in observance for President's Day.
Mayor, I'd just like to add under information, the fire commissioner and budget elections are Saturday, Feb. 17, from 2:00 p.m. to 9:00 p.m., and to check with your local district for your voting location.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regular meeting would have been on February 20th, 2018. That meeting will be canceled. In lieu of that, we have 3 budget meetings, Thursday, February 8th, Tuesday, February 13, and Thursday, February 15, all at 4 o'clock. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes, ma'am.